Hello!
Hello.
We're the Small Potatoes. Mm-hmm. And chances are, if you've clicked on this video, you're very familiar with Degrassi, The Next Generation.
Yes.
It is such an iconic series. It was really big for its day in the early 2000s. I know you didn't watch it growing up, but
yeah.
I definitely did on the N, which isn't a thing anymore.
Well, it was the End, and it was Noggin, and then
T-Nick.
Yeah.
But yes, it was super iconic because it tackled heavy topics of its time, and it really wasn't afraid to go there and leave its mark as far as teen programming goes.
I remember even in the commercials, there's like a promo where it was like, "Oh, slut," or like it said something really like, and I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, like what is this show about?"
But today we'll be talking about season 1, episodes 1 through 5.
Yes.
So the first 2 episodes actually aired as a 2-parter titled Mother and Child Reunion. The story is centered around Emma, but serves as an introduction to The Next Generation and a recap for the OG series, Degrassi High.
Because Emma's mom is actually Spike from the OG series.
Yes, which aired from 1987 to 1991.
So a very small runtime compared to The Next Generation's runtime, right?
Yeah, I would say...
I guess the original series wasn't as popular.
Yeah, but it was I remember watching some of the episodes from the 80s series, and I know they would tackle subjects like AIDS, so it was Degrassi's always been pretty notorious. Yeah, it's centered around Emma and her friends JT, Manny, and Toby, which are later part of the main cast.
Yes.
They're starting the 7th grade, or as in Canada they like to say, grade 7. We're shown that Emma has an online crush named Jordan.
She has a computer in her room, first of all.
Yeah. Which he has a lot of the same interests as her, and we see that he's very adamant about
meeting up with her.
Yes.
Because he's like in a sports tournament or something?
Yeah.
What is it?
He's athletic. But
yeah, he's athletic.
But we, the viewers, can sort of guess where this story is going to go.
Yeah, because Jordan is, like, so perfect. He loves doing all the same things Emma loves doing. So it's very, like, catfishy.
Yeah, that's something that in present day, 2025...
It's still an issue.
It's very obvious that because, it's been a thing for, almost 3 decades.
Yeah.
But in 2001, I would say that this was an issue that young people needed to be forewarned about because
stuff like MySpace, AOL Messenger,
parents
and all
were very
that.
unfamiliar with it. There was not a lot of regulations for it,
and anybody could just get on there.
I think you have to be like 13 to have a TikTok. I think.
Really?
Yeah. So like regulations were not there. You could be talking to anybody on the other side of that computer.
Not anymore. Abbott made a
law. But so that's kind of the main plot for that first episode. The minor subplot is the OG cast doing a recap that's pretty much a 10-year class reunion.
Yeah.
The plot also serves as a distraction to allow Emma to eventually meet up Jordan in a hotel, motel, or...
Holiday Inn!
Her and her friends are really wary about the situation, but Emma is too infatuated with Jordan and ignores their warnings. I think I remember JT saying something like, "You're talking to a 40-year-old man."
Oh, yeah, he was like... How do you know you're talking to Jordan? That's some like 40-year-old creep. And then Emma's like, "Shut up, JT.
Yeah,
like, you're stupid."
And we should call him JT Stradamus because he absolutely called that.
Oh my God, yes, he did. Because later Manny's like, "I don't think you should be meeting up with him." And then Emma's like, "Oh, fine, I guess I won't."
Yeah.
And then she lies to her best friend. And is like, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna just stay home and like watch like Animal Planet or whatever." And then, like, Manny finds out she's lying.
Yes.
And so they go and, like, hack her computer, find out her password, find out what hotel and what room number they're going to be in. And then they go all, like, panicky.
And I feel like they inform the parents.
Yeah, they, like, run from Emma's house to Degrassi, where the reunion is
at. Yes, which is conveniently near the hotel, I believe.
No, they had to drive there.
Okay.
The kids were able to run from Emma's house to Degrassi, but from there the adults took the car.
But as they're getting there, Emma's quickly recognized by an adult who claims to be able to take her to Jordan.
Like, she's just sitting in the lobby waiting for Jordan, and then some random guy's like, "Hey, you're Emma, right?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And then, like, they go upstairs. He gives her pizza, and he's like, "Oh, like the boys are gonna come out for pizza soon, so like don't worry."
Yeah, it's very To Catch a Predator before that was a thing.
Oh my god!
These scenarios are sort of what makes Degrassi so intense because the situation quickly unfolds.
Yeah,
and
like it gets really uncomfortable really fast. Yeah, because he starts like smelling her hair, and then he gets like really close to her, and he goes like this, and like when that happens, I'm like, oh, don't touch her.
He's like touching on her, smelling her, and telling her that she's actually his for the next couple hours.
Yeah, and like Emma's just there. You could tell she's trying not to cry, but she's here just like trying not to react because there's a camera too. Like she walks in the room, and there's a camera pointed at the bed. Like it's very obvious where this is going.
But thanks to her friends being
her friends,
smart, Snake and Spike eventually get there and hold the Predator until the authorities get there.
And they like come with like their little like batons too. It's really funny.
I think it was so brave of them to make this a two-parter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
like the first episode is kind of just like a reintroduction to the series. It's introducing our new characters and catching up with our old characters because in the old series there's like a really big car accident and I guess people didn't know what happened afterwards, so I guess they just had to address that.
It aired back to back, and I feel like it could have been all in the first episode, but I don't know. I'm glad they did it because when it hits hard, and it's so intense. Like just watching it, rewatching it as an adult, it makes me so uneasy, especially as a parent, knowing that this could still happen to its day.
The first episode's really great, and I think it really captured what the series was going to continue to be.
And how quick it could take it there.
Yeah.
So, episode 3 is kind of a big nothing burger.
It introduces us to the older kids, the grade 8 kids, such as Ashley, Spinner, Paige, Terry, and Jimmy.
Yes.
Aubrey Plaza.
That guy from the Sprite commercial. The episode's titled Family Politics, and it's
literally just about...
It's so boring.
Ashley and Toby, they're step-siblings, and they just hate each other. They don't like each other at all. And Ashley's like a brat. Like, anytime she sees Toby, she, like, turns.
She is unreasonably just irritated at the sight of Toby.
Like, there's a lot of, like, morning scenes where Toby's in the bathroom, and Ashley is automatically like, get out! What are you doing in there? And it's like, dude, like...
Like, he could just be in there pooping.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Toby's kind of a little turd. He's playing with her bra, being a creep. Typical... step bro.
Oh my god.
A behavior,
Not like that.
Yeah. It's funny or whatever, but for the most part,
it's really annoying.
It's Ashley just being like, God, I hate this kid.
Yeah.
And they have to live together because they're part of the main cast. Yeah. Both of them moving forward. It starts with Ashley just sort of with Terry talking about her unopposed presidential run for class president.
For Degrassi, right?
Yes. And she's a shoo-in. We're also introduced to Paige, who's sort of the bully archetype early on in the show.
She's like a bully, but like I don't know, she's very insecure to me. Like, yes. I feel like
she's definitely the best actress out of all these. Yes. So I think maybe her range was better for that.
Yeah.
But later on, we all know what kind of goes on with Paige later on. But Jimmy and Spinner introduced as bullies early on.
Yeah, because like the first scene we have with them, they're like picking on Manny and Emma, and it's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's a weird scene, and that's kind of all they do in this episode.
Yeah.
To give us some sort of conflict, Toby sort of convinces JT to run for class president.
Yes, just to annoy Ashley. Like
out of spite.
Yeah, out of spite. And even JT says, like, I'm not gonna, like, if I win, I'm not gonna be president. I don't want to do all that work. Yeah. So, like, the entire time, they're just doing it to mess with Ashley.
And here is where I would say that Degrassi is sort of wishy-washy on the morals that it wants to tell in the stories.
Yeah.
Because Ashley is so deeply offended, understandably from her side. She's mad at Toby because Toby's going to sabotage this. But at the same time, she was unopposed.
Yeah, she was unopposed. It wasn't really like a race or an election. And then she ends up bribing JT.
Yes.
Like later, she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $80, and you drop out of the race, and you have to humiliate yourself in front of the school."
And there's never any pushback on that being a bad decision. Mm-hmm. She'd be great for American politics, I would say.
Right.
But that's it. Like that, her and Toby eventually reconcile because
they have like a little heart to heart where they're like, "Hey,
we don't have to be so mean to each other.
Like we live with each other. Like our lives don't have to be miserable." And they talk about like how the family therapist would be very proud of them for coming to this conclusion.
And they realize they should be fighting less.
Yeah, so it's really weird. It's a whole 23 minutes of just these step siblings being like, "Hey,
that person sucks." There's not really a subplot either.
Not really. No, none
at all. So that's kind of that for episode 3. I guess as far as establishing characters, you gotta have some nothing burgers out there. Yeah. But episode 4, Eye of the Beholder.
Oh yeah, this episode tackles on a heavy subject as well, which is
Terry's body image issues.
Yes.
She feels that she's too fat.
Yeah, like it starts off with Terry like telling her dad like,
I'm not going to go to the school dance. Yeah, she's
like, I'm not going to go to the school dance because who's going to want to dance with a fat cow like me?
And early on, they sort of give Spinner a little bit more because he's got this sort of mutual crush on Terry.
Yeah, he automatically is like, "Hey, Terry, can I borrow your notes?" And that's like, a teen boy's way of flirting, trying to talk to a girl, because how else are you going to approach this girl that you like?
And let me just say this about Spinner. Not just his piercings, but he's got such a baby face.
Yes! You can tell that he is still...
He's growing.
Yeah, he's growing because he still has, like, his little, like, baby, like, fat in his cheeks.
He looks like a big baby.
Yeah, and they try to make him look tough because he has, like, all these piercings in his ear. Yeah. But it's just so funny because, like, you're a little baby still.
So this kind of touches more on just how cruel some teens could be because what Paige does in this is that Paige...
She is not a girl's girl, by the way.
Not at all. She also has a crush on Spinner, which, like, way to go, Spinner, I guess.
We don't understand this. Spinner is not a prize to us, but we're not going to talk about that.
So she uses her cattiness to sort of sabotage Terry, and she's aware that Terry has this body image issue.
Because Terry, like, is very loudly, like, talking about how, like... She's making the excuse that her dad's not letting her go to the dance, but then Ashley, like, interrogates her, and she's like, "Yeah, if you can tell me how to lose 10 pounds in, like, 5 hours, I'll go to the dance."
Yes. And Paige preys on that.
Yeah, she gets her alone.
Dresses her, not to empower her, but to make her look trashy.
Yeah, because, like, her skirt goes from her knees...
it
goes really high. Like, I remember seeing it and be like, "Ooh." And
she leads her to a false sense of connection with her because she's like, "You know what? We should have a drink."
She's like, "We should drink to calm the nerves. It helps."
They drink some sherry, and Paige isn't really drinking.
Yeah, she, like, pours 2 glasses, but she's just watching Terry drink. And then she's like, "You know what? You need some more. The more you drink, the better you'll feel."
And eventually leads to this big, chaotic, dance with Spinner.
Yeah.
And it goes just as you think. She ends up puking, not on the dance floor, thankfully.
Yeah, she runs to the bathroom. And that's when Paige, like, swoops in and is like, "Hey, Spinner, you want to dance with me instead?" And Spinner's just like, "Okay, sure." By the way, I want to mention this. The entire time Paige tries to talk to Spinner... He's kind of just like, "Yeah, whatever," and then he'll like turn to Terry,
Yeah,
because like
he's so dismissive of her.
Yeah, he does not even look her way. He doesn't give her the time of day. So like, it's really frustrating that Paige is just like, "No, how can you like Terry and not me?"
It's a mean episode, and what is so funny about Degrassi at times is we'll get to the subplot here in a second. But what's so funny is that this ends with Spinner sort of walking off with Paige.
Yeah, with Paige.
And they never acknowledge it ever again.
Yeah, because, like, I feel like if Spinner really liked Terry, he would have gone out in the hallway and been like, "Hey, Terry, are you okay?"
Yeah. With these weekly teen dramas from the early 2000s, a lot of the storylines sort of get dropped easily. Mm-hmm. And you kind of feel very frustrated because you're just like, no, there needs to be, like, more of a lesson learned. But
because, like, no one ever gets mad at Paige for, like, getting Terry drunk.
Yeah,
like,
she's there's not suspended at all.
Nothing happens at all.
Which we'll find out is a constant theme in Degrassi.
Yes, it seems like people forgive really fast and forget.
While all this is going on, the subplot of this episode was to introduce
Bad boy Sean.
Sean. So Sean is sort of like the male counterpart of Emma, where, you know, they're not really the main character, but they have a lot of Sean-centered episodes, Emma-focused episodes. But Sean is, you know, mysterious. He's got this bad guy persona.
He has a jean jacket.
Yes, so that's how you can kind of tell. And
he comes on a motorcycle.
He's got this angst.
Yeah.
And we find out that it's because he repeated the 7th grade. Later on in the series, we find out why that is.
Stay tuned.
But this is also the beginning of Emma's bad taste in men.
Yeah. And not that Sean's a bad guy, because later on, Sean is a good guy. Like, he's one of the better guys.
He's such a sweetheart.
He's just... His flaw is basically he's poor. That's it. And that's not even a flaw to us. That's just the show's way of being like...
Yeah, and to say out of all the men Emma dated, Sean was definitely the best.
Oh, yeah.
But the only reason... Here's what's concerning. The only reason Emma is drawn to Sean was because he was being mean to Aubrey.
Oh, yeah. He was being mean to Jimmy. Because Jimmy was like, hey, bro, I got a party later. Yeah, and then Sean just is like...
He's like grabbing him by the shirt, pushing him.
It's really weird.
That is such a bad part of Emma's character. But anyway, we move on to episode 5.
Which is kind of like another nothing episode. Because it's another Toby-centered... I don't want to say the Toby-centered episodes are nothing. But like I feel like the Toby episodes... It feels like these plots could have been like 10 minutes, not like a full 20.
It informs us about how Toby is a child of divorce.
Yeah, like why Toby's so like submissive in a way.
Yeah. So he spends most of this episode trying to get his dad to avoid Parents' Day because he doesn't want both of his parents there.
Yeah, because his mom messaged him saying, hey, I want to come to Parents' Day. And Toby's like, oh, no. Yeah. Like, there's a reason my parents are divorced.
He forges the teacher's, like, signature.
He spells all these words wrong, and it's so funny.
It's funny, but it also shows that he's actually kind of good at computers.
Oh, yeah, because they're showing how Toby can hack computers. He can go on to...
it is mostly Toby, but, like, the subplot is really what shows a lot of this episode moving forward, because... It shows Emma's leadership. The subplot has Emma tackling a teen propaganda media called NAK, N-A-K, that paid the school to run their news program.
Yes, and in order to... Kay also donated basically the computer lab to Degrassi. So in exchange for the computers, Degrassi has agreed to show in the mornings for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes...
Just teen propaganda.
Yeah, they're teen propaganda.
And it's sort of, you know, this happens in the U.S. too. With schools that become computer dependent, they kind of assume every child should have a computer access at home. If not, their alternative is like staying in school and doing it.
Or the library.
Super unfair too, by the way, because... This sort of trips onto Sean and his home life situation, because while Emma's tackling this news propaganda, she brings it up to Radich, the principal, and
he basically is like, you know what, they gave us computers,
deal with
it, but if you want, write an article about it so it can be in the school newspaper.
Yes, and that article lands in Sean's
brother's hands
on Parents' Day.
Yes, because Sean
doesn't have his parents.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on with his parents, but he is there with his older brother.
Yeah. And he reads the article and he kind of gets super pissed off about it because he just as we said, says this is super dependent on computers and we're too poor.
He says, so all you have to do is watch like a 10-minute video every morning and you guys can have access to these computers.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't get why this is so bad. And then Emma's like, it's bad because it's propaganda. Like, we shouldn't be subjected to this information.
But she's still a child and she's like,
oh my God,
you're stupid.
Yes.
She pretty much is like, you're stupid.
No, yeah, because he's like, oh, I don't think that's bad. You know, Sean over here, we don't have a computer at home, so we need these computers. And Emma literally is like, you're wrong, okay? Yeah. And then after that, Sean's brother like gets up in her face. He's like, you know what?
He's super aggressive.
There's two sides to every story. Understand
He's super mean about it. He's like, this is trash. It looks like trash. It belongs in the trash.
And he like crumples it up in front of her and like just throws it.
So, you know, this could have been like episode 3 where a bunch of nothing happens. But as far as character traits it really shows a lot for Emma. It really shows a lot of what's going on in Sean's home life. And it really develops them moving forward.
Yeah, like these first 5 episodes actually give us a lot of like character background and like character development already.
Yes. There's also a subplot of Ashley and Paige trying to get Toby's mom's attention at Parents' Day.
Because Toby's mom is a casting director for like movies and modeling and all that. And it's really funny because like Toby's mom does not care about Ashley. She is the child of the other woman, first of all. And then Paige is just a tryhard.
Yeah, she's like, trying. She's got like a tribal band tattoo.
Yeah. And she has like her belly button all bedazzled. But it's really funny because like as she's walking out the door,
she notices Terry.
And she's like, hey. It gives her a card. She's like, you have a great look.
For acting. Which I feel like leads to Terry's modeling later.
Oh, yeah. But Terry was always beautiful. That's the thing.
Yes.
Terry being the fat girl really upsets me because it's like
she wasn't that.
Yeah, she wasn't even fat.
Yeah,
like I don't think she was fat.
But Degrassi was panned by critics when it first came out because the critics were sort of iffy about them tackling such heavy topics.
But obviously, like it was getting the views.
Oh yeah, by far.
People were watching it.
I think it was the #1 rated like teen drama in Canada, and it had a huge following here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Obviously, it reached me in my youth, and it led to having a decade-long
series run. Yeah.
They had to change the title because they were airing so much. It went from Degrassi the Next Generation to just Degrassi.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to be talking about Degrassi moving forward. Let us know how you want these videos coming out.
We're still working on our style.
But yeah, we appreciate you as always. Please remember to subscribe to us. We love you. Ciao. Bye.
Bye.